Hello, friends of the Latino Chamber of Commerce. My name is Carla Colin, and I am here with a friend of the Latino Chamber that has been supporting our community for a long time. He is being supporting and educating our Latino Chamber community for even a longer time. So I wanna thank Josh for being here. Josh, welcome, and thank you for sharing good information with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carla. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I just want to let everyone know that this information that we are going to be sharing during this English recording is also available in Spanish. If you want to share with someone that prefers to listen to this information in Spanish, it's going to be available on our YouTube channel and also our Facebook page. Josh, for those who may not be familiar with Juntos, could you share a bit about the organization and the work you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Juntos Community is a nonprofit based in Denver that's been around for 5 or 6 years now. And Juntos works with undocumented folks around the state of Colorado. And our vision is really to see that undocumented folks can thrive in our state, not just survive, and have access to upward economic mobility. And so for us, that means, having higher wages or income, being able to purchase your first home and build generational wealth for your family. And so we do that through a mixture of different programs, but the main program that we started with is our DACA Works program, where we support people to renew their DACA status every 2 years and provide a $555 grant that covers people's renewal costs. And then in the last couple of years, we've also had our advocacy program, which has been focusing on policies that allow undocumented folks to be able to have more income in our state, take away barriers, and also to have access to health in our state.
I love the work that Juntos does. And Josh, within that work and the advocacy that Juntos does, we know that you've been working on a legislative proposal, safety no status, with the governor recently passed and signed into law. Can you explain what this law is about?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much to the Latino Chamber of Commerce for supporting this bill. I know we were on about a year ago to talk about it, and it's really cool that it's now passed into law and it's been signed by the governor. And so basically, what we were seeing is that um, undocumented folks that wanted to go into or wanted to study, certain careers that needed a background check because they'd be working with vulnerable populations, whether it's because they wanted to be a CNA, a certified nurse aide, or a nurse, or um, a mental health therapist or a social worker, right? They were getting stuck with the background check when that background check required a social security number. And so essentially what our law did is it just said for any educational opportunities like those programs, if a social security number was required for the background check, an ITIN must also be accepted or even a fingerprint-based background check. So that way we could make sure that our communities, still have safe background checks, but they wouldn't be measuring someone's immigration status. They could be completed by everyone regardless of immigration status.
I love that. And when you and I first talked about this proposal, I thought it was a great idea, and I feel like we see it becoming reality now, and it's amazing the impact that it's gonna do in our communities. And Josh, when does this new law take effect?
So this new law took effect immediately upon signing, which was June 3rd or June 4th. I forget the exact date. But so from now on, anytime that someone is doing a background check for an educational opportunity and that opportunity is not considered employment, right? It's, something that's unpaid or something that's volunteer, or not employment, right? This law now, should be followed.
I love that. Josh, what are the key benefits of this law, not only for the immigrant community, but for all Colorado residents and as a whole?
Yeah, so I think first of all, we are really excited for the benefits that this has for our immigrant community and in particular our undocumented community, because 5 years ago our state passed legislation that allows people without a social security number to obtain their professional license. And now with this safety not status law, that opens up more doors for folks that are undocumented to go into careers like nursing, like being a CNA. And while they may not be able to get employed at a hospital, right? They can use their license and they can use their abilities to provide home care for people to start their own small business. And this really benefits our community because we have a shortage of healthcare providers. We have a shortage of mental health providers, and definitely a shortage among those that speak Spanish or speak other languages that our diverse Colorado community speaks. And so we know that our undocumented community is often bilingual and bicultural, if not multilingual, multicultural. And so they bring a lot of skills that our workforce really needs to be able to meet the needs of community members throughout Colorado. And beyond that, I think we know that immigrants are also very entrepreneurial and bring all kinds of new ideas that I think will make our workforces stronger all around.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And something that I was sharing with you that really worries me is what steps can ensure employers, contractors, and organizations know these law and apply it appropriately, especially during background checks, because we want to make sure that people don't get denied the opportunity even when they can have it.
Yeah, that's a really great point. So one of the things that we're doing is we are sending out a letter to different um, universities and community colleges, as well as like high schools that have a career technical education program, to let them know about this change so that they're aware that anytime their students have to do background checks, that they can use their ITIN or use their fingerprints. So we're trying to do that education, but it's really important that anyone impacted by this also, is aware of the law, which is House Bill 1143 from the 2026 session. And so it's really important that you know about this, and so that you can inform, um, other entities anytime you run into a barrier. If you're asked to provide a social security number, you can also share the letter with them, or you can also share in your own words, right, that they're required to allow ITINs or fingerprint-based background checks. Because we know that unfortunately barriers will come up still, even if we try as hard as we can to inform, every entity that does a background check. And that being said, if you are met with resistance, you can also report it to the Attorney General. So the Attorney General of the state of Colorado is authorized through this law to be able to enforce this law. And so if you're, not allowed to do a background check with your ITIN or fingerprint-based background or your fingerprints, you can report to the Attorney General, and they can actually leverage a fine against the entity that's violating the law. And if they still refuse to allow you to do the background check, they can leverage an additional bigger fine. And so we're really hoping that through these means, right, that the law is respected and that people are able to do their background checks.
Yeah, I like that because people need to rely on the law that, cost you and the Juntos team and a lot of people a lot of work to do. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Josh, my last question. Even though this is a state law, some individuals may worry about how it could impact their immigration status. What would you say to those who may feel hesitant about exercising their rights under this law?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first it's important to say that doing a background check in no way impacts your immigration status. But I will say that it is really important with anything, anytime you're sharing any personal information, it is important to be conscious of possible risks. And so, even getting a driver's license in the state of Colorado, I think you have to weigh the risk, right, of where's my information's going, what's going to happen with it, is this safe to do? And typically, right, the benefits far outweigh the risks. And so in this case, if you do a fingerprint-based background check, that information does get shared with the FBI and searches national criminal records. And so it's important to know that because if you have committed crimes in the past, right, FBI is already going to have that information, and ICE will already have that information. Um, However, if if you have committed past crimes and have been fingerprinted, or maybe you were fingerprinted in the past because you had an interaction with Border Patrol or with ICE or with some kind of application for USCIS, it is important to know that, if the FBI is given a new address where you live when you do your background check, there is a risk that they could share that information with ICE. We have never seen this happen in the past. We've never seen background checks be used as a mean for ICE to track people. right? So it is, historically a safe thing to do. But we have also seen this current presidential administration do things that they've never done before. And so we just want to mention this to know that there is, potential risk with sharing information. So you should be conscious of that. And at the same time, our hope is that the benefits for you of being able to move forward with your education and start a business outweigh potential risks that could exist.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Josh, for sharing that. And I want to remind people that to start a business in the state of Colorado, you don't need a social security number, no matter what type of business you start. You do need an ITIN number, which is for the purpose of complying with the IRS and doing your tax reports every year. But you can reach out to the Latino Chamber and we can definitely help you and guide you through the process of that. And like you said, there are things that are happening that we never thought that we were going to see, but hopefully people are thinking more about moving forward and taking those smaller risks for a better future for their family. So Josh, thank you so much again for being here with us. Thank you for sharing this information. And we are going to share the information about Juntos with the description of this video, and people are going to be able to reach out if they have any questions. Thank you again, and thank you for being a great ally of the Latino community.
Thank you all.